I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Our group members will explain to you the past, the present, and the possible future of racism in the United States. Here we will show you a brief video clip showing the history of racism in the United States. While watching this video clip, keep in mind the main points covered involve issues with racism with Native Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, and Hispanic Americans. Racism, as it exists today in America, it has its roots, or at least I believe, in a sociological view called ethnocentrism. It's the natural ability for people to form groups and either form the group and like the people in that group, or also exclude people in another group. For example, you have people who like baseball. People who like baseball are going to naturally gravitate to people who also like baseball, to play baseball, or talking about the sport. But and that, to a certain degree, that's good. You find who you like and who you want to be around. But on that same token, you also have that natural ability to shut out others. For example, like you got your theater guy. He's all artsy and because he's hanging out with his theater friends, but the jocks and the theater people don't really mesh all that well. And this is just a small version of what you can consider racism, but it's faction against faction. And so there's that natural ability to group and to exclude. So there's this natural ability to group, which doesn't say that racism is okay, because we know that we shouldn't look down on others. Abraham Lincoln talked about, that we are all created by God and we are all created equal. So, I mean, we need to look at the other people and realize who they are inside rather than the color of their skin, what religion they are.
Affirmative action in the United States is known as the targeted preferential treatment in regard to education, employment, or housing among certain groups, primarily minorities and women. Supporters of affirmative action rationalize it by saying that it addresses the past or present discrimination, such as slavery, or that it enhances racial, ethnic, or gender diversity. Opponents of affirmative action, on the other hand, believe that affirmative action programs cause reverse discrimination and they result in the underqualified applicants being chosen instead of the overqualified applicant, just because of their race, ethnicity, or gender. Opponents also argue that affirmative action degrades accomplishments of both those who are chosen and those who are not, because they are being chosen based on their social circumstances, not their qualifications. The history of affirmative action began initially with JFK in 1961, but it became more developed and was enforced by President Johnson. Many cases regarding affirmative action have made it to the Supreme Court, including the Bakke case of 1978, which involved a white male being rejected from medical school 2 years in a row and being surpassed by minorities who were less qualified but who had separate admissions, where 16 out of the 100 seats were reserved for minorities. The Supreme Court ruled against the inflexible quotas, but upheld affirmative action in general.
When it comes to racism, there's tons of different special interest groups out there that lobby to stop racism, and others that still want racism in this country. One group that really caught my attention is CORE. CORE was founded in 1942. It is the third oldest and one of the big four civil rights groups in the United States. From the protest against Jim Crow laws of the 40s through the sittings of the 50s, the freedom riders of the 60s, the cries for self-determination in the 70s, equal opportunities in the 80s, community development in the 90s, to the current demand of equal access to information. CORE is champion true equality. As the shock troops and pioneers of the civil rights movement, CORE has paved the way for the nation to follow. Under the banner, The Truth, Logic, and Courage, CORE continues to promote harmony and healing in all aspects of society, calling the shots straight even when it hurts, and comforting the haters, race baiters, and racial racketers bent on keeping us apart. CORE's national headquarters is located in New York City. From there, a network of local affiliates and chapters radiate across the United States, Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, Central and South America. Membership in CORE is open to anyone who believes that all people are created equal and is willing to work towards the ultimate goal of true equality throughout the world.
Congress of Racial Equality is one of many groups in the United States who advocate civil rights. Groups like these use their constitutional rights to educate the populace on issues of racial injustices, and they also work at a legislative level, trying to promote change in the legal system when it comes to issues regarding these racial injustices.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I would hope that in today's society that we have been able to get to the point where we're not so much looking at this, the skin color and those type of things, that we're looking at the issues. A lot of people agreed with the change that Barack Obama said that he was going to do. So people who want that type of change are going to vote for that. But it's interesting how we've had rich white Americans be president up until this point. So it really would seem as if Martin Luther King's dream has come true.